Hello, good evening and good morning, everyone. Very good evening. Uh, Durga Prasad, Mohan, Satyarani, Upender, hi all. All right, so welcome everyone. We have 32 participants already joined. So we will wait for a couple of more minutes so that other folks can join in and then we can quickly start. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Murli. So let's wait for a couple of minutes, 1 and 2 minutes, and then we can quickly start about the rest of the training. Yeah. All right. Till that time, I will be on mute. And if you want to grab something, grab the water bottle or anything, please do that because very good evening, Srinivas. Because we will just start the discussion now and it's just a 2 hour. I hope we should be able to continue at a stretch. Yeah. Good. I hope my voice is loud and clear. Uh, I've checked the internet, 5G is everything is working fine. All right. So good. A minute. We'll just wait for everyone. Thanks, Durga, Babji, Satyarani, everyone. Yeah. Just a minute. I'll be on mute for a minute till other folks join in. Thank you. All right, team. So welcome back. And so let's quickly start the sessions for today. So just to save the time, I would like to, I hope you all can see my screen. Yeah. So whatever I did for the entire plan is that we have already covered. I'm pretty sure you know that we have already covered 6 days of our sessions last week plus yesterday. And well, there is a plan from my side because basically if you see that we are planning I mean, like we started from 9th, right? So 9th November. Yeah. So we started 9th November. So I'm planning for till 20. We will continue 7 to 9 p.m. IST. So this is the plan A, right? And then 23rd to 30 November because we need to, uh, collect 35 hours of the entire sessions, right? So we need to complete the 35 hours of program. Well, 23rd November till 30 November, I'm planning to continue for 2.5 hours. Yeah. So in that case, it is almost 2 weeks. 2 weeks means, almost 20 hours. And this is 1 week or 6 days, 2.5 hours each. So almost 15 hours. So this is approximate 20 hours. And, well, this would be 15 hours. However, there is a plan B. Suppose if you are not planning to, uh, you know, close by 30 November, then we need to, suppose if you are planning only continue to 7 to 9 p.m. IST 2 hours, then probably we need to extend uh, minimum 3 to 4 days because 5 hours we need to adjust. Yeah. Say for example, December 1, 2, 3, by 3, if we are planning to complete, we can do that. Or else 23rd to 30 November, this is the plan B. We'll continue for 2.5 hours. The good part is that we have already covered the high level overview about the PMP's PMBOK guide, the exam pattern, and also we spoke about the different organizational or the introduction to project management and couple of organizational influences chapters. Yeah. Well, our plan for next almost I can say again even 2 weeks, close to 2 weeks, right? Less than 2 weeks. So we can plan for scope management, which I'm planning, which actually is I'm continuing now. Yeah. And then couple of things are still pending from organizational influences. Scope, once we complete the scope, then we'll go for the activity definition and activity sequencing. and then we'll continue for critical path, and then from there we will also connect how to complete the schedule management or the time management, which I mentioned it here. Probably I can also do one thing, critical path management, which is nothing but your the schedule or the time. Yeah, quality will keep it separate. Then we'll go for the cost management, which is nothing but your planned value, earned value, actual cost, CPI, and all sort of SPI and all calculations. That also we'll try to complete here. And then we move to the quality, from quality to risk to communication, and then uh, stakeholder and resource management. And on the last day, we'll talk about professional ethics plus the Q&A, because professional ethics will won't take much time, plus the kind of exam samples. Yeah. uh, so that also we'll try to cover. Any recommendation or anything you would like to suggest from your side? Is that, are we all comfortable till 20 November 2 hours, and then 23 to 30 November we need to continue, I think 6 days, 2.5 hour. So you can just mention or message in the chat box, then I'll talk to Kiran and probably other stakeholders that what are the best course of action for all of us. Yeah. Good. Feel free to put your comment. Feel free to write whatever you wanted to kind of add, or probably you want to modify and update anything else. Yeah. Good. Okay. Can that be 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m.? Yes, that is also another options, but I think you need to vote. Like if we can start from 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. So we'll have the second round of voting. Probably what we can do, I'll share the Google form, or probably Kiran or someone from the team will share the detail. You need to let me know 6:30 to 9 or 7 to 9:30. Yeah. Yes, 6:30 is too early. Yeah, absolutely. Like, 7 to 9, 7 to 9 Srinivas is okay, but we need to cover the if it is 7 to 9, then we need to overlap till December. Yeah. Yes, for working people, absolutely, because uh, sometime we need to also take care about by 7 p.m. to 9:30. Anyway, that's it slightly, 30 minutes won't make much difference unless and until you are learning, enjoying, and making it more interactive. You won't feel any difference in the 30 minute. Uh, and it is just a week's time, only 1 week, 23rd to 13 November. Yeah. Uh, okay. Now, please keep writing, keep shooting me the lot of questions, because let's start it, make it more interactive. Otherwise, what will happen? It will become monotonous, so that I will be just keep talking and then you will be listening, right? So it's better you also write or ask me some queries and questions. Like the first question from Sanjana Kundapalli. Quick question. I believe we need experience in managerial field to give PMP certifications. Well, the answer from my side, if you have a practical experience, that is a bonus for you. If that's not a practical, if you don't have that, then in fact bonus is not required. You can still prepare for your examinations. You know, when I became in 2008, I was just a 5 year of IT experience, and I was into the software development. I never managed, I never became a, that time I was never been into the project management, but I did it. Yeah. uh, you can go ahead, do the PMP certification, even you don't have the uh, right job in front of you. Like say, for example, if you are not in a project manager, still you can do that. There are two approach. You be a project manager, those who are into the project and program management, and you are planning for the PMP, or you become a PMP and then apply for the project management positions. Both are in front of you. Yeah. Sanjana, you know now what you need to do. Okay. Uh, Mahipal, you are joining from Singapore, extending 30-minute means session will be until 12 p.m., which will be very hard to follow. Okay. Then we have the plan B, right? Basically, we can extend December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. I think uh, that could be the another options. Yeah, definitely we'll take it input MyPal, and we'll think like what best can be done. But we'll ensure that it won't affect your time zone from Singapore, and we'll do that. Yeah. Yes, Sandeep. ANG, Australia, New Zealand. Yes, basically we can do that. Yeah. Okay, I think Maipal is saying we can extend. That's good. Raghavendra, I have one clarifications regarding scope management, input, output, tools, and technology. We have discussed yesterday little different from PM Box 6 guide. Yeah. Well, so the difference basically is will last cover like basically sixth or the seventh edition. Even I have couple of input from the seventh editions. Uh, Now, couple of things has not been as per the latest one, because considering the examination pattern and considering the questions would be coming up, we'll discuss those points. I know from ITTO point of views, whatever I showed, there are a couple of changes has been done, right? So, but if you see the latest version, uh, like say for example, uh, in this same slide, right, we have something known as the scope management. Yeah. So this is the sixth edition, Raghavendra. If you see the plan, the scope management, right? Collect the requirement, define the scope, and create WBS. Yeah. And then of course the validate and control will go to the monitoring and controlling. But yes, we'll try to fill the gap whenever you find the input, output, tools, and technologies. Uh, Basically, yeah. Now, couple of things has been removed from the PMBOK guide. The reason is pretty clear, because they are more or less aligned to the plan, do, check, and act, or probably the incremental iterative way of development. Now, do you know that this is also known as that PMBOK guide, the sixth edition plus Agile. When I say it's Agile, basically uh, they have started migrating into the some kind of little bit change into the adopting the plan, do, check, and act Deming life cycle. Yeah. All right. So yes, Raghavendra, you are right. 1 and 2 point we have not added, which we'll discuss on those point. We are joining from Singapore. Okay. Okay. This is done. Raghavendra is done. Okay. All right. Good. So, welcome back to everyone, and let's quickly uh, discuss about the. Okay, Prakash, you are interested for the extension. I think that's a good idea. I'm also absolutely fine. So, which looks good for each and everyone. Okay, looks nice to me as well. Okay, welcome back to the day 7 of our program. And basically, today we'll be talking about the scope management. Yeah. Yes. Couple of point I have not added. Raghavendra, as you said, few of the tools and technology I have not added, probably just because making it the compressing, or probably making it very crisp, and so that you can understand what exactly tools and technology can be used. Yeah. Towards the last, whenever we compile the entire output, we will discuss about the gap, whatever we saw so far. Well, define the scope has been done. I think yesterday we scope about uh, the step by step approach. Like say for example, we have the collecting the requirement, and we have a step which is known as the create WBS, work breakdown structure. Yeah. Well, WBS, the smallest part is known as the work package. Defining the scope and create WBS, or the work breakdown structure, is the part of your planning process group, and nothing but your project scope management knowledge areas. So just you need to remember that and rest are theoretical. Those who are into the project management and program management, what you need to do, take a A4 size paper, or probably take a, whatever the big picture, take a printout of, or if you don't have the summary version, please let me know so that I can share with you. One liner, A4 size, and take a printout of the entire project management process group plus knowledge areas. Number one, take another uh, printout for your all your calculation at one point. Yeah. Well, once you complete that, I think just keep it in your desk and keep reading and revising on a day-to-day basis, because one thing will not come to your mind is the most of the calculations. For example, yesterday we are talking about, we spoke about, the net present value. Yeah. How to calculate what is the present value. Today we'll go through that Excel sheet one by one, but make sure that you understand, remember those, uh, you know, the calculations, because that makes more sense. When I used to prepare for PMPs, as I said, till now I just remember, I have remembered the entire framework of PMBOK guide. Yeah. So basically, once you remember those points, and input, output, ITTO, tools and technology, plus if you remember the calculations connecting the dot from knowledge area to process group, then you are done, right? You are almost, you can easily clear the PMP examinations. Yeah. Well, from the day when you are planning for the PMP examinations, basically you need to book a slot. Try to find it out your, uh, because few people have the highest level of IQ, or probably I can say the active, or the brain, both left and right brain remain active in the morning sessions. Like few people it become in the post lunch, because I know a couple of people's became, or the members become more active after having the lunch, right? Some will get slow, so you need to find it out which time frame is okay for you to schedule for the exam. You need to ask yourself that, shall I start from morning 9 o'clock, or 7 a.m. morning, or probably evening night 8 p.m. You need to do that. Well, if it is a prometric center, probably nowadays the online prometric would be, the right options for you. But if you are planning on the month of Jan, and I'm not sure for your geographical region, if you need to really apply for your physical prometric center. If not, online you can do that. For me in 2008, I remembered when I used to go to, I went to one of the prometric center, and just above my desktop there was a CCTV camera, for each and every block, one cabin, or not cubicle, I can say, right? So in cubicle, I had a laptop, not a laptop, desktop, plus the camera, and they didn't allow me the waterworks, and they didn't allow my wallet, watch. Well, they didn't allow, somehow they allowed the handkerchief, right? So I used to hold my breath, whenever I used to read the examinations. PMP exam, I need to hold the breath, because I need to remember, memorize, calculate couple of the question set. Hmm? So do not remember, whenever you prepare for any simulation exam, there are a lot of questions are available uh, in the market, in the Google and outside, right? So you can use that, but do not remember question and answer. Try to remember the concept behind that. Yeah. Well, the another point is Rita Mulkai books, which I read, and to be very honest, uh, let me share my personal experience that Rita Mulkai, I read it, but not that much, even though they have given a very good insight, but I couldn't manage time. Yes, 3 to 4 time PMBOK guide overview. Uh, Almost all 3,000 plus questions, I prepared for end to end. And that was my winning factor, because I was not a project manager that time. And I used to understand the concept, and then the right answer, and keep preparing uh, for the question set. Well, So that you can do whenever. So it takes 1.5 to 2 months to go for the PMP exam. I have seen those who don't be overconfident, because I've seen the project and program management members, those who were my student, and they failed also. People starting from working at IBM program manager or any other companies, they failed in front of me. And the only reason is that they were the project manager, and they also now the program management. But PMP is purely based on the PMBOK guide. It is not in on your thought process or not on the real time scenarios. It's purely based on the PMBOK guide. So don't be overconfident. Prepare, take enough room time and prepare for the exam. Just 1.5 to 2 months is more than enough. Every day, 2.5 hour preparation makes sense. Yeah. Well, having said that, let's move ahead with the scope, project scope statement. Well, okay, so this is what we completed: WBS work breakdown structure, the process of breaking the work items or the scope statement or the scope requirement, high level requirement into the smaller work package. Work package is nothing but your smallest unit of your development or any kind of any other activities where which is considered as the smallest deliverables by the team, or from the team you need to collect those requirements as a project manager. Well, that entire process is known as WBS, work breakdown structure. Okay, now as I said, the lowest level of the requirement is nothing but work package. And please remember that is 8 to 80 hours rule. Basically, one work package should minimum should take, say, for example, 1 day of 8 hours work, and should not be more than something that 2 weeks of time. Basically, that is the one of the rule or the best practices, that work packages should not be more than 2 to 3 weeks of time. When I used to work in a company known as Fidelity as an developer, for I used to work on the Oracle, you know and basically we used to, that project was in .NET, C Sharp that time, plus the Oracle as a background. And one CR change request, those who are from the ITS team, they can understand that one CR, like one change request used to take, or we need to estimate for 3 months, right? So I remember those days. And even for reverse analysis, analyzing the code and fixing the bug, and then the fixing the kind of the change request or any kind of defect into the system. So it takes a lot of time. Now, but having said that, that 8 to 80 hours rule may or may not be applicable to everywhere for the organization. It depends on organizations. It depends on the customer. It depends on the appetite or risk appetite by your customer, and then the stakeholder. Your It depends sometimes the threshold of acceptance by your the business POC or the kind of sponsor. Yeah. Well, uh, so once you define the work package, and basically you need to go for the controlling account. That is, a control account is nothing but the numbering system, like the sequencing, ordering and numbering of the entire work package, which is known as the control accounts. Yeah. When the numbering system basically applicable or applied to the work breakdown structure along with sequencing. Well, WBS can be done in multiple ways. You can take a pen and paper and then keep, preparing the different box. Like if you know the UML diagram, if anyone is aware of the use case, if they have prepared something, then we also prepare the architecture diagram, right? So there were a lot of annotations used internally for the application, from one application to another application communications, from one database to the another database, UI and UX communications, right, from one socket to another socket, how the communication happens. So that the entire structure, you have to make a plan, and that small activity is known as the work breakdown structure. Well, so for this, we use decomposition. Decomposition means like you need to break the entire work items, yeah, or the requirement into the smaller part based on the output, expected and desired output based on the the acceptance criterias. Yeah. Now, when you break the big requirement into the smaller part, so basically you don't whenever you break the requirement, you actually not break the requirement, but also you find it out the timeline, like basically how much time it will take. So you find out to whom to be and who is the resource will be working on that work item or the work package. And then also you need to prepare in the MPP that there is some kind of logical relationship, like finish to start, finish to finish, start to start, like in the parallel starting or the parallel working, or start to finish. So there are four kind of different sequencings of the work item. Basically, we'll discuss that later. But breaking decompositions of the entire, uh, the entire work items. Well, the output would be nothing but, please remember, whenever you create the WBS or the breaking the big requirement into the smaller part, basically you are creating a baseline. What is a baseline? Baseline is nothing but, say for example, today I'm planning to construct a building. With my initial ideas, we need to take a rough sketch, whether I need a 4-storied building, 3-storied building, or like 3 BHK, 4 BHK, or whatever. You just need to make a rough sketch. And that initial plan is known as the baseline plan. But that baseline plan can be altered, can be changed based on the new ideas, based on the architectural input, based on the performance wise, based on the the aesthetic look wise, and probably the front layout of the building, the side and back layout of the building. You need to take care of the entire thing, and your baseline is nothing but the starting rough sketch which you did beginning of the project. So that is how the scope, and this baseline is also known as the scope baseline. Basically, it is the initial requirement breaking or writing or preparing the small requirement, and with ordering and sequencing, and probably you can say the very high level or a very granular detail about the work package and work items. Well, now the question is that why scope baseline is, if anyone worked on the Microsoft Project Planner 2016-17 or any other tool, basically if you see that MPP tool have a baseline, and basically we can have the 12 baseline. I'm not sure if it has increased now, but you can have certain number of baseline the project, like you can change the start date, end date, and then make that as a baseline. So baseline is used for, baseline is nothing but your planned value. Well, similarly, if you don't do the baseline, basically you cannot estimate or plan for your scope creep. If I do not know what is my initial budget, if I do not know that, if I have not remembered my initial plan was, then probably I cannot say that how much change it happened compared to the initial plan and then the scope. So scope creep and cost overrun and the budget. So everything is actually measured through a baseline. Here we are talking about the scope baseline, basically the baseline for the entire scope. If any changes, updates are happening, then it would be considered as the scope creep, and any change in the scope should come through a change control board, which is the CCB. And change control board in a waterfall model is nothing but mostly to your business team and probably your delivery team, your business work, couple of 1 and 2 3 members, they can act as a change control board. CCB team take the input from the technological team. If they want to implement the change, what are those impact may happen to the rest of the the product or the project. So for that we have to do the impact analysis. Change control board, during the change control board process, like the first phase, the the CCB team or core business team will approve the change process. Then the next step, it has to go through the impact analysis by the team. Impact and analysis to be done by the technical team or those members who are delivering or those who are working on the product and the project need to do some kind of analysis, which is also known as the reverse engineering. They also need to talk about what are the different impact, what are the different kind of changes happen in other system, other areas. And development team also need to take care about one point that is known as the impact analysis document, which is also known as the IAD. IAD document or the impact analysis document need to be estimated thoroughly, and then the delivery team need to provide the cost revision into the system. So now you can understand that if without scope baseline, I cannot estimate the scope creep. And if any new system change is coming, then if you do not have the planned value of or the baseline scope, it would be difficult to redirect the entire new requirement through change control board and through impact analysis, and then the IAD document, then the revision, estimation revision, and getting the finance and budget for the from the stakeholders, right, or from your project sponsors. Well, so scope baseline is one of the very interesting point which you should remember as a project manager. Yeah, how you do, like you can go to the MPP tool, define your initial baseline project, mark that it's a baseline, and all the plan will be calculated, estimated, or sequenced over the baseline plan. Well, similarly, we now the collection of work package or the collection of the sequencing of the requirement or the work package or the smallest work items is known as WBS Dictionary. Number 1 point. Work breakdown structure dictionary also contain the other detail, but for the time being, let's understand that the collection or the plan, thus the collection of work package cumulatively, it is known as work breakdown structure of the dictionaries. And we have other component as well, which will come back. But for the time being, we have a scope baseline. Now, question is that who need to prepare the scope baseline? Please remember, this is the responsibility of your project manager. Project manager need to take care, understand the best, the scope or the baseline scope. Yeah. And they also need to convert and kind of map to a tools, basically any kind of project management tool. We have a lot of tools available. Widely used is Microsoft Project Planner. I'm pretty sure you are aware of that tools. However, having said that, we have a lot of other tools as well which you can use. So output is work breakdown structure. All the necessary detail is, or the cumulative detail about the entire work package is known as the WBS Dictionary. Well, we have also the scope baseline, as I said, and project document update. What is a project document update? Basically, you need to, as a PM, project manager, because project document is the part of your organizational asset, right? So when I say organizational asset, it's a proprietary, or it's a kind of confidential document for the companies for the future reference, and for the internal purpose, so it cannot be published to the external stakeholders. So project document update, again the project document update, we have a the timeline, we have the sliders, we have the health of the product and the project, we have the cost overrun or cost under control, right? So a lot of other document you need to manage. You need to also manage the dialogue or the risk registers. You need to consider the lot of other the project related document. Well, for learning purpose, you also need to take care of what are the risk estimated, what are the impact probability, considering what are the actions taken by you to mitigate the risk or risk avoidance. We already discussed about risk mitigate and risk avoidance. However, we'll discuss at the later point. Yeah. Well, input, process, output. So that is how the create WBS work breakdown structures. Any queries and questions, please feel free to write, or probably you can let me know so that I can answer those points. Okay, good. We have excuse me, Dibakar, do we have a tool for WBS from Jira? Okay, Jira is an Atlassian product, and basically we have a on-premise, we have a cloud version of Jira, which is also known as ALM, Agile Lifecycle Management Tool. In early in 2006, that time we used to use the Jira, almost 13 years back, if I'm not wrong. And that time Jira was actually not an ALM. It was just a defect management tool. Now that I remember we used to download a plugin which is known as the Green Hopper plugin. So Jira plus Green Hopper, it worked as a kind of what to say, like the Agile Lifecycle Management tool. Agile came in 2001 by 17 professional in the month February, and 2006 I came to know about Agile project management and all. 2008 I became the kind of PMPs. Well, to having said that, there's a lot of plugins available. Like we have a Gantt chart available, we have a portfolio plugin available. We have a like big pictures, big Gantt. So a lot of things are available into the Jira tool. Yeah. So Devakar, that definitely Jira is a full of community based, lot of plugins. Yeah. So we have big picture, big Gantt, lot of, yeah. Jira is not an open source tool. It is a paid version. Earlier it used to take, we used to pay 10 user per month, $10, USD. But now it is one user is $7 per month. Basically, based on the number of user, you need to keep paying to them. Yeah, it was a defect management tool, Srinivas, earlier. Like earlier means I'm talking about a decade before. Atlassian Jira is not a new tool. I remembered I worked the early version of Jira tool. Why Jira is popular? Because when I used to work on the Jira, it was just a very simple, like someone has created a very new product, not many features in 2006 and 7, and it was a defect management tool. True. So that's how you find it out. In Jira today also there is the task and subtask, right? And you have a bug as an issue type. Okay, anyway, Jira is so Rally is also better than Jira, but Rally is the costly. Version 1 is from the Broadcom. Actually, version 1, another tool from the company known as the version 1. They sold it to CA, Computer Associate or something. CA sold it to the Broadcom. Now, version 1 is a kind of, the different entity now. Well, Rally Corporation, sorry, this is Rally I was saying, not version 1. This is the Rally Corporation sold out to the CA. CA sold it to broadcom. So Rally is now a kind of broadcom tool. So basically it's a user friendly, but first of all, this came early into the system. The second thing, it was very low cost to grab the market, and it was very lightweight. Yeah. Okay, Raghavendra, yes, decompositions means means the activity breakdown. Yes, breaking the big requirement, big SOW statement or the project requirement into the smaller part. And this smaller part are need to have some kind of tangible output by the developers. So that is like if I say SOW is a very big statement, yeah. But when it goes to the work package, work items or the work package, it is the smallest unit which have some kind of output and to be delivered, executed, implemented, tested by your developer, right? And you know, okay, so that's how the decomposition's perfect. Jira open source, yes. Do you mean like segregating the activities? Okay, Prava, I think not segregating, actually we are breaking down into the smaller part. Yeah, and then also we are connecting the sequence, I'm connecting those step by step or the sequencing ordering of the delivery of uh, each and every the work package. Okay, Himabindu, each work package have different account. Well, not always, because if you see the control account, it depends on the attribute, it depends on the scope, or probably sometime what happened, two work package look similar working on a single functions, or probably the component or the module. So we have the one single control account for that. Yeah, but yes, sometime what happened, for better traceability and better implementations, we have the different control account. By the way, control account is nothing but your numbering, your what is it, like numbering, ordering, or some kind of the attributes given to the work package level, right? So now somebody say that what are the benefit of control account? There might be a questions, you may need to read little bit in the control account from the PMBOK guide. Being as a project manager, what is my first priority is that traceability, right? It is how I should uh, manage the work in terms of the timeline, in terms of the cost and budget, in terms of the establishing the planned versus actual earned value management. So these are nothing but this attribute also known as the control, the control account, or nothing but the some point or some kind of attribute where you need to take the control. For example, work package. Every work package we need to define how much the time, in the critical path method, basically what is the maximum time we should wait, or we should it should be delivered by the team. So it is for the management options, but control account is uh, widely used by the project manager. These are the sliders, these are the attributes, these are the kind of some management point. And say for example, uh, uh, to kind of track, monitor and control the product or the project, you need to apply the control account. Yeah, control account is not a big, but is just a kind of understanding. Yes, Sandeep, yes, we'll do that definitely. Yeah. Yeah, Imavindu, it depends on the granularity level. Yeah. Okay. Now, what are the tools and technology? Basically, you need to remember that WBS is again on hypothetical statement, which is actually you need to focus on the outcome, right? Basically, when you get your product requirement, you need to analyze what are the outcome is expected, and what work need to be completed by the team. Sometimes one outcome might have multiple work, so you need to break that one single output with multiple work, right? Breaking the uh, further granular into the work package. So not only you break into the smaller part, but also you do the sequencing, structuring, ordering, organizing the work breakdown structure that we already discussed. Yeah. Well, so apart from that, you also need to maintain the traceability, right? If you see in my slide, I always maintain the traceability. Like whenever you prepare the work package, make sure that each and every work package are having some kind of prefix in terms of numbering or some kind of index ID, which is also connected to the parent one. So parent child, uh, the kind of relationship established for the work breakdown components or the work package level. So that's how the tools and technique for the decompositions you need to break, and make sure that you should not break so much of so granular that it makes no sense to evaluate what are the necessary output is coming from this work package. Yeah. uh, if I'm going to say, for example, if I'm going to repair my bicycle, yeah, so what I need to do, I need to take my bicycle to the cycle store and I need to guide them that what are the demerits or the what are the problems in my, what to say, like in my bicycle. Yeah. Now the kind of technician, what they need to do, they understood the requirement, which is my statement of work, and they start fixing, breaking those the big requirements. Say for example, my brake is not working. So what they need to do, they need to make sure that the gears alignment are proper, and they need to make sure that the wire coming from your brakes till to your gears are well aligned, and they need to make sure that all the nuts bolts are properly fitted and tight. So that is known as the work package. But for me, the SOW is that my wheel is not working and my it's kind of not comfortable. Yeah. So that kind of decomposition you need to do to make sure that you are getting one of the work items. For example, every project into multiple process, not multiple, 5 process group, right? So as we discussed, like planning, execute, monitoring, controlling, and closing. But you can decide anything like planning, define and design, then go for execute, optimize, and then go for the release. Yeah. Under planning, you have a plan for the component. So what are the component you need, like project charter, stakeholder matrix. What is a stakeholder matrix, by the way? Stakeholder matrix is nothing but uh, the graphical representation or the pyramid structure of your relationship between the different stakeholders. Yeah. Well, stakeholder matrix, those who are into the mostly kind of what you say, like the MBS management, and basically they have already gone through that stakeholder matrix and template. But please remember that stakeholder matrix is nothing but finding out your customer engagement, understanding who should be more aligned to the project success, who should be informed, the who should be consultant, RACI matrix, which is nothing but responsible, accountable, consulted, consultant, and informed. Yeah. Like the stakeholder matrix is most important. I remember when I used to work, I need to create a SWOT analysis, strength, uh, like a SWOT analysis. We have RACI matrix, we have stakeholder matrix, which is matrix is nothing but uh, 4-dimensional. Yeah, I'll show you that one, nothing to worry. 4-dimensional, where I need to capture about yes, stakeholder are nothing but your internal and external team, directly or indirectly associated with the project. So who are the stakeholder? Like say for example, if AstraZeneca is preparing or ICMR is preparing the vaccine. Say AstraZeneca is the company who is preparing the vaccine, for example. Well, who are the stakeholder? The government is one stakeholder. The end user, right? Those who will be using that is another stakeholder. Those the clinical trial happening on the existing patient, they are also the one stakeholder. The government, right? The people who are working in the AstraZeneca company. So stakeholder can be internal, external, those who are directly, indirectly associated with the project. Yeah. Well, just you need to remember that. Okay, so in this project, make a big plan and keep breaking into the smaller parts so that you can, and please remember all these are not loosely coupled. These are the tightly coupled when it goes to the vertical dimension. Right, so tightly coupled means stakeholder matrix without project charter without having a proper plan. I mean, like without plan directly, if you do the project charter, then it's one dimension. What about the different aspect of your project, like the project management plan, what are the communication plan, because project charter is just one part of the entire plan, right? So make sure these are the tightly coupled, yeah, not loosely coupled. Similarly, designing the document, HLD, high level design, low level design, LLD, architecture overview, right? So these are the point of work package. So whatever you find is the smallest part is nothing but your work package. Yes, you are right, Gangadhar. Stakeholder is basically matrix will contain about what is their interest and basically what they are aligned to, hmm? and what they are happy to deliver. Say for example, if I want to go to um, if I want to take to the Maruti Suzuki and if I deliver in UAE, Dubai, right? So basically, if I take the Indian version of Maruti Suzuki bike or sorry car into the Dubai, or if I go to the German, it won't fit, right? So the stakeholders, if you've been to German, then you must have seen that they have Volkswagen, they have very good, highly sophisticated design cars. Yeah. So what I mean to say is that based on the country specific, the same company is operating in India, car manufacturing company, and the similar company is also manufacturing for Dubai and UAE. And if you've been to UAE or Dubai, if you've been to the Germany, if you've been to the France, the same company but the different design of the car. If you have seen the Mercedes, the weight, basically it is very heavy weight. Like it cannot be. It's kind of, it's so heavy that it cannot be crushed at all. So, but country specific, they prepare the different manufacturing entities. So you need to understand that what Indian, uh, the India market, how is happening in the China market, how is happening in the different countries in Finland, in India, in Russia, in Australia, based on the cultural, based on that point. So customer interest, and you also need to understand about that what the customer kind of resistance, what is the customer is happy to get it. So all sort of point your kind of political, the kind of. So from that you need to understand the RACI matrix, because who should be consulted, who should be informed, and what deliverable output should be provided. That comes under your stakeholder, sorry, the stakeholder matrix. Well, now coming back to the other point, WBS discussed, and WBS Dictionary. Basically, there are a couple of, as I said, the collection of the entire work package, plus the acceptance criteria, plus the business logic, plus the architectural related document, plus the the schedule, the timeline, and all cumulative inputs are known as the WBS Dictionary. So dictionary is nothing but in English term, it is the end to end, the kind of uh, the collection of all these words, right? So dictionary where you can get the entire detail. Similarly, WBS dictionary where you can go track, find it out, all detail about the work package. Scope baseline we already covered. Let's come out of that. Okay, so a question you may get during the exam, that a management point in a work breakdown structure which is used to consolidate and process the work package data and forward the result to the project manager is called what? Yeah. So basically you need to understand. Yes, absolutely correct. Absolutely. That, yes, Himavindu, Prabhat, Durga Prasad, you are right. So the answer is control account. Control account means, okay, the very short form of remembering the control account. Yeah. It is a kind of biodata or your CV. Like suppose if you are going for a job, you are applying for a job, new job. Yeah. So what you do is that you personally talk to that person and then explain a end-to-end detail, or you prepare the 20 pages of about yourself, about your history, about your strength, your weakness, what you studied, how did you study, what are the how did you fight with your friends, and how did you won the game, right? So this is not required. So for what you need to mention is that you just need to give some bullet point, that your name, email ID, summary, your certification you did, your professional summary, your kind of experience detail, and the project detail in 2-3 pages. So that is known as the control account, right? So it's a parameter. It is the, so your biodata, your small input, your attributes, that is also the control account. Yes, Biswank. Yes, the first already gone, right? So I think the first document has already been delivered. I hope you all should have received. If not, please connect to our host of the team so that I'm like this batch, they will take it up. If not, I'll also talk to them. Yeah. Okay, let's not talk about that now. Verifying the scope, make it very simple, which comes verifying and control, the is coming under monitoring and controlling phase of your project. So what are the controlling phase is basically make sure that you have certain guidelines and you are checking, validating the output as per the guideline, right? So make sure that to verify the scope to be done, who has the authority to do. So quality assurance is one part of verifying the product, right? So these steps. The another verifying can be, or the verifying the product or the product increment or the product deliveries or the work package can be done by your customer. So one is from your customer, one is from those who are developing, someone who is the end user, like SIT UAT phase. You need to check it from, say, kind of the production environment. Yeah, and you can also do the dark launch of the product or the project and do that. For example, whenever you hand over the building, so what do you need to do? The handing over the before, do you know the before handing over any building, the builder will take the input from the maintenance. I'm like from those who are the doing the coloring, basically those people who did the masonry, the tiles and all, those who did the plumbing, those who are all the fittings, taking the input and finally hand over to you. So that's how verifying the scope. It is basically with all the stakeholders who are providing the input. Yeah. Well, so whenever you get how did you get your building in a very good shape and conditions? It basically someone must have done the inspection, right? The plumber engineer will come and see that all the fittings working in the, there are no seepage at all, and the entire room and building is well in terms of water pressure, there are no leakage, everything looks okay. Similarly, electrician will come and check all the point that all the electrical points are working fine. Masonry, the tiles people will come, make sure that there are no hollowness, sometimes there are not broken tiles and all, so they give the so this is known as the inspection process, and you just need to remember verifying is nothing but inspecting, and inspection is nothing but comparing or agreeing to the kind of predefined checklist, right? So that's how the inspections need to be in accordance or comply to a checklist. So that's known as the inspections. Yeah. Okay. Well, scope, I think these are the already we discussed input and these are the output, you know. Well, so change request, once you verify the scope, suppose your your team member, your builder did the inspections. Now, after inspection, they handed over to you now. So the final inspection to be done by you as well, right? You need to make a checklist before taking the new or the checklist for buying a home, the checklist for taking the possession. So for that, you need to also do the inspection. And what you will find it out, you find some changes, then you request your builder to do some kind of change request by you. Yeah. And then also builder will again kind of either you accept or probably you initiate accepted with some changes requested, and then you update some kind of email communication or to the maintenance people, to the plumber people to change those points. So these are the output, right? So it's pretty simple that you need to remember verifying the scope. Well, inspection completed, verifying the deliverables against the checklist, yeah, or the acceptance criterias. So that is the inspections, product reviews, audit, walkthroughs. These are also the tools and techniques used for the inspection. All right, so I think this is what you should verify the scope. Well, now let it make it more critical. For example, suppose you are the project manager for aerospace domain. Now, given a chance that you are a project manager and you want to establish some kind of inspections, yeah, for one kind of deliveries. Say, for example, you are the project manager for the turbine system of the aircraft, yeah. Now, what you need to do, you are a project manager, but you are not a technical guys. Basically, you are not into the kind of subject matter expert, but you are a project manager expert, yeah, project management expert. So we have certain time, sometime what happened, we have a technical manager, we have a product managers, and we have solution managers, or sometime we have the product owners, right? So basically, they are into the subject matter expert. So what they need to do, you need to work very closely with the product management team. So now here, if you see that being as a project manager, delivering for the scope of a turbine in aircraft, actually you are most kind of dependent on the functional team. And hence, like the moment you as a project manager are more dependent on the project management team, the authority lies with the product management or the kind of the technical team. So that becoming your functional organizations. Sometimes it is also known as the projectized, and then the functional, and then the matrix, right? Well, in that case, you need to take input and work not under, I can say, very closely with the subject matter expert, being as a project manager. Now that's one of the biggest challenge whenever you are working in a non-projectized organization. Another risk you may get being as a project manager is basically the scope creep. You know what? Every project have certain timeline, cost, scope, schedule, and has been defined. But the major problem will come when there is a fixed bid price project, where the scope is fixed, timeline is fixed, and the budget is fixed. The why agile is so famous today, because the only thing is that none of the estimate, as I said in the day one, none of the estimate are accurate as of today. So why almost all projects suffer a lot in terms of slippage, in terms of cost overrun, or probably the schedule, slippage in the schedule out of track, or sometime what happened, the quality hampers. It just because whatever the initial estimation done by the project manager with the initial input may not stand hold good after a couple of days, weeks, or month, right? So basically, if you see that, that's how the entire, and the biggest project, or the challenge for a project manager is how to manage your cost. Every product or the company have their own EBITDA, or the EBITDA is nothing but your earn before interest, depreciation, tax, amortization, right? So that's how they uh, calculate it. So the biggest problem is how do you manage that time frame. So this is one of the risks which you may face, number one. And I'll give an example. When I got a chance in a waterfall as a project manager for one of the project, so what we did, we used some kind of new concept, like say for example, uh, we divided the estimation into three part. The first estimation was based on the our initial estimation for initial 2 month. Then we have the kind of pot estimate. We have sometime kind of, earlier we started with ROM, rough order magnitude. Those who are following me, step number one is that we started with rough order magnitude, ROM, and sometimes we call it a pot estimate. Yeah, uh, pot estimate is nothing but your optimistic plus pessimistic plus 4 into most likely divided by 6. Yeah, and then initial estimated estimation done with rough order magnitude. Well, the second estimate part was basically after once we deliver 1 and 2 work component, or the kind of the module, we revisited our estimation process based on our learning. And then we projected or revised the timeline, revised the cost, and start delivering the product. So make sure that whenever you take a fixed bid price contract, you should be very good at how to write the contracts, should be very good the terms used in the contract, right? So that's our most important for you. Yep. All right. Which of the following document is not used as input for the verifying scope process? Yeah. Well, how to remember that? So that's what I said. If this kind of question is coming, then probably you need to remember these are the tools. ITTO. For me, I've remembered all these ITTO, right? Inputs, output, tools, and technologies. Okay, I think the ratio matrix is not used as the input for verifying scope process. So you need to see, understand those point here. Having said that, I think these are the couple of points which you should remember, that how to uh, manage your scope. And finally is controlling the scope. Well, any queries and questions? Upender, yes, please. Yes, you are right. Fourth is the answer. You are right. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about little bit wild card entries. Okay. Narasimha Sai Bharat. Hi. Narasimha, could you be on mute, please? Yeah. And Narasimha, can you hear me out? If you are you are on live, if you can hear me, could you be on mute, please? Narasimha Sai Bharat. Yes, Narasimha Sai Bharat, you are still on. Then can you please, yeah, unmute? Okay, so okay, let's go for Radhakrishna Muluru. Hi. Radhakrishna, if you could be on mute, please. Radhakrishna Muluru, yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Radhakrishna, hi. So, did you understand? Sorry, how all the things? Hope you are able to understand and you are able to get whatever we are discussing. Yeah.
Y- Yes, do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. It absolutely good.
Uh,
Yeah.
th- Thank you. I get a general idea. I go about almost everything like on a general sense. So I clearly get a very general idea, but I hate formal examinations and formal questions. I think the entire, what we call the testing system, the so-called examination system must change, I think. So maybe the artificial intelligence will help in the future, I think. So these kind of formal and what we say bookish exams are really something that I don't like at all, actually,
Okay. So, okay, what is the solution now for that? Like, suppose if you are planning for the PMPs, what is the solution now?
Well, maybe artificial intelligence, kind of artificial intelligence will come in and the system will change, I think. Not even at the PMP level, from the birth till the end of a human life, I think the entire education system and entire
Hmm.
examination system has to change. Of course, it takes time, it takes a lot of effort and many things,
Yes.
but that is what we are looking forward to.
No, no, I absolutely agree with that. But yes, basically, if you talk about this is one of the process, because as I said, you remember that's old is the gold, especially the PMP is basically the old process. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a very
And
good respect for PMP.
yes,
Obviously, it's been like gold. Yeah.
yes, yes. But having said that, from waterfall we came to agile, and as you know, right, as you said correctly mentioned about that also, from waterfall to agile, agile to automation, automation to CI/CD, and CI/CD to we came to the DevOps. From DevOps to we came to the the IoT, data science, Internet of Things, a lot of other things as well, right? So and then we came to the kind of the artificial intelligence. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, but having said that, that is the evolutions we have to make it. But I agree with you. But what to do? We have to embrace the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more
True.
more
Yeah.
to into I'm also into the DevOps, the management, and the cloud, as well as your kind of RPA, robotic process automation, like Blue Prism, UI path, automation anywhere, and into the machine learning. So all those are the my skill set areas. But yes, gold is always gold. We have to accept it and then go and we have to read it and then getting ready for the exam.
Yeah, practice would be a bit painful, but anyway, one
Yes.
has to go through that.
Yes, we have to go through that. Absolutely. Thank you very much for sharing me your ideas, and I appreciate that you took time for a couple of minutes.
Thank you so
Well,
much for your
my
patience
pleasure.
and
You are
giving
most
us this wonderful training.
no problem. You are most welcome. All right. So I would like to talk to Raja Kiran Jala. Hi, Raja. Right. So if you would like to be on mute, please, uh, would be great. Yeah. Raja Kiran Jala. Hope you can hear me. All right. So Ramesh D, if Raja, I cannot hear you, but yes, Ramesh D, if we would like to be on mute, please. Yeah. Ramesh D, EST SR Manager, USI. Ramesh D, could you be on mute?
Yes.
Hi, Ramesh. So,
Hi.
any queries and questions which I could help you out to understand? I know I'm trying to take a balance between the expert and between the newcomers. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Right now, no questions. Like,
no questions, yeah. So, did you understand about the control account? And then there are two concepts, is a little bit tricky. One is the stakeholder matrix and how it connected to the RASI and all a lot of things. The another point is the the one is the stakeholder matrix and then the control account. So, any ideas? What's your thought? On the control account as well as the stakeholder matrix. Yeah. Ramesh, please. If you have
uh,
anything like your in general, like I gave an example, you remember that biodata is your control account. Yeah. Like these are the sliders or some kind of the attributes for the work package used for the traceability, right? So any roughly if you can give me some example on the control account, or if you want to give me any example on the stakeholder matrix would be definitely a good or the great point. Yeah, Ramesh, please.
yeah, I'm not able to collect the example because,
No problem. Like
like,
in your typical, like say for example, what is your uh
I'm a senior manager.
yep. So great. Nice to hear that, Ramesh. And glad that I think you are also into the project management, right? So Ramesh, or and you are been into this. And by any chance, you have gone through any kind of stakeholder mapping, stakeholder matrix by any chance?
No, like the general, like our management system is completely different than like what we are like learning here actually.
Hmm. And you are into the ITES or
No, no, it's
non-IT?
BPO.
BPO, business
Yeah,
processing outsourcing.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. And you are planning for the PMP exam in very shortly, or how is it, Ramesh?
Like since I said, like we are very new, like I need to recheck and rework again and again.
Hmm.
And I need to understand the subject a lot because
Yes.
working live and learning is completely different, right?
Different. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
So,
we will try to have some more examples. Like
hmm,
I need to sit like maybe about 2 or 3 months, and I need to grab
absolutely.
all. Yeah, I need to grab all the knowledge so that then we can go ahead for the exam.
Yeah, absolutely true. That's a great point, Ramesh. You said. Thanks for that. I think the practical experience plus the knowledge, and you need to take it balance sometime, and then keep reading it. Sometime what happened, uh, to be very honest, into project and program management, most of the PMP concept, Ramesh, I've also not implemented yet. And most time I used to work on the Excel sheet, the FT allocation, resource allocations, and some kind of MPP. I was heavily using the Microsoft project plan with Gantt chart. But having said that, most of the concept are still we never got an opportunity to implement, or probably we never tried to do that. Probably this is an opportunity, Ramesh, for us to keep learning and keep proceeding ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Nice talking to you, Ramesh, and thanks for your time. All right.
Thanks.
So
Thanks. Thanks for it.
most welcome. All right. So uh, Prabha, yes, ratio matrix is used during the risk analysis. Well, see now, uh, ratio matrix is for the risk, but basically sometime what happened, whenever you do the some kind of stakeholder matrix or uh, the stakeholder analysis, ratio matrix can be derived. Ratio can be internal, like say for specific to your risk. Sometime what happened, we also need to, for example, if any product delivery is happening and you need to identify your external stakeholder who are responsible and accountable for your project approval. Okay, for risk it is fine, right? But your budget approval, your the compliance report, right? Or say for example your governance uh, level output. Sometimes it happens that you need to also get the stakeholder input. So RASI is good that we use for the risk, like who are for that risk, who are responsible, accountable. Sometimes what happens for a work item, like say for example compliance, for compliance who should be responsible, for auditing purpose who should be responsible, for BPO activities and approval, right? So the voice processing, the background, the database informations, who should be responsible and who are accountable. For SLA, service level agreement, the management, you know, what are the support ticketing system, what is their SLA, who are responsible, to whom I need to write to and reach out to, what are the tools, do I need to use BMC Remedy, or do I need to use the Jira tool, or do I need to use any other tools, right? So for that, RASI probably, kind of generalistic ways, in general approach, you can start implementing for the stakeholder as well. So that's what I said. RASI matrix definitely for the risk analysis part, plus the different component, right? For the risk, RASI matrix. For compliance, also who should the RASI matrix. For the security, for the performance, and like in a multi-vendor system, when I'm working with the BPO outsourced to multiple other companies, yeah. For example, for my payment, one BPO team, for my internal ticketing or the system, the another voice system like BPO team. So in that case, I should be also, as a project manager, I should be able to knowing that for this kind of specific SLA or this type of ticket system, to which vendor I need to reach out to, right? So that's how the RASI matrix where monitoring and controlling, I hope it's clear, Prabha. Yeah. Um, Now the controlling the scope is the variance analysis. Only one thing you need to remember, that the variance is nothing but, the control chart, like how much is the mean median mode. Variance is nothing but how it divide from your deviation from your original planned value, or the baseline plan, or the blueprint, the initial plan, initial sketch. What are the variance? Now variance can be, uh, we are talking here only the scope level, like say for example from my baseline we have discussed about 200 tickets to be, the kind of resolved by the team. But down the 6 month we took an average, we found that 235 tickets are getting resolved by the team, right? Which is the variance as for the contractual agreement. So variance analysis in terms of scope also need to be calculated. If you do not calculate scope variance, probably you cannot get the money or the kind of the monetary benefit, and resource utilization would be at a very big risk because your scope creep, your variance is huge. Well, the another point is uh, variance can be the kind of positive and negative. Like what is a positive and negative? Like mean, median, and mode. Positive variance, negative. Like say for example, I have allocated fund for managing 10K hours of spending the manpower. Well, I am spending, say for example, around 8K. So I'm actually running sort of fulfilling that 2K demand, right? So that is actually the negative. Now, negative means from a scope point that I'm not able to fulfill, I'm delivering less, and with the same demand, the same cost given to me, I'm delivering less to customer. Another point, I've given the 10K USD to deliver the kind of some support to the team, but basically with that funding, I'm actually delivering even like 10% variance or more than the work than the expected work, right? So which is basically scope point of the scope creep, which is the upper side or the positive side. So you need to decide. Some organization, some project manager, they said that if it is scope is going beyond, that is the negative. If it is scope is below, then the agreed, that is known as the positive. You can also take that aspect considering how do you see water half filled or water half completed. Yeah, half remaining, half completed. Well, so variance analysis is to be calculated by the project manager. Control chart is one of the technique. Anyone also aware of any other variance analysis chart or the tool? Anyone in your practical like variance analysis metrics or probably any kind of variance analysis techniques? You can share, right? If you have done that uh, for the variance analysis, that would be good. Yeah. All right. So variance analysis done. The output, by the way, you a little bit complex to remember a couple of points. So the best technique is that project management plan update, anything update like project document update, excluding the closing phase, excluding the planning and not planning, even the initiation phase, almost everywhere you find the project document, lesson learned, project management plan update. This management plan will not be at the closure phase. However, please make sure that any document update is by default is there. So you no need to remember, just try to skip those points. Project management plan update. Change request, if any variance is analysis, and like say for example, if my scope is overrunning and although my scope is under the committed timeline, and then we are not able to deliver, then probably you need to bring some kind of uh, place into the system making demand is more, that say for example the customer will be providing a lot of input or the requirement to you. At the same time, if anything goes beyond the scope, then you need to make sure that you bring that under change request, not directly to your work package and work item. It has to come through change request. Every change request require to be the approved the in terms of schedule, in terms of the budget, right? So that's how it is. Good project manager always try to find out the baseline, make sure no scope creep, make sure the control chart used by the control chart means I'm not saying about the number of defects. Sometimes what happened in the number of defect result and not result. Sometimes it can be the number of time it took, positive side and then the negative side. So control chart is multiple purpose can be used. Well, so any update is by default, like project management plan update, project document update, asset organizational asset update, by default would be there. So you just need to skip that. Yeah, Change request, yes. Whenever you find any scope change, please redirect it through the change request process. Yeah, let's not accept into the system. Well, change request already discussed. Work performance measurement, like the variance, and this has already been covered. Good question. What is not true for the change request? From this, can you try to answer? Anyone can answer that? What is the right answer? What is not true for change request? Okay. For perfect, change requests are always a sign of bad planning and should therefore be avoided. You mean to say that? Okay. Change request, Prakash, you are saying that surpassing the formal change control process can lead to scope creep. Okay, looks good. Anyone else? Okay, either we have a two choice, 2 and 4. Okay, we have another point is Gangadhar that professionally managed change request can help improving a project and resolving emerging problem. Yeah. Radhakrishna, is that you write in that last means is Nalu, right? Or what is that you have written? Fourth. That's fine. I understand. I learned that, um, you know, all those numbers and all, but yeah. Okay. The answer is perfect. You are right. Change requests are always a sign of bad planning and should therefore be avoided. Now, how to avoid that? Please make sure that you have a very good define of the scope. You have a very good define of the work package, work control account, the traceability, the sequencing and ordering of the work package. And hence, if you don't do that, every time you will get the change request. However, please remember the second answer, those who have planned for change request suppressing the formal change control process can uh, lead to scope creep. This here the trick part is that surpassing, right? So change request surpassing the formal change control process sometime can lead to scope creep. Somehow it might be, but the most answer is the last one. Yeah. Okay, so we are good to simple question exam. Wbs Dictionary, there would be definitely a question. Is a document which describe what? Like work breakdown structure dictionary is one of the document which describe. Yes, the answer is with interest of time. Yes, Biswang, Sampath, Upender. Well, okay. So the answer is 2. You are right. Yeah, I have the question set. Don't worry. I'll share with you all those point of Uh, yeah, Gangadhar. I think it should be the all the details like the control account, the different aspect. Product acceptance criteria should be laid down in which document? Is it in resource assignment, scope management plan, work breakdown structure, or project scope statement? Product acceptance criteria should be laid down in which document? See, one point to clear the PMP is that the art of elimination process, right? So, for example, we know what is an acceptance criteria. So more or less for me, it is not resource. Resource means uh, resource can be anything. It can be the infrastructure, it can be the people, it can be the license, it can be the anything, right? Resource. But a resource ruled out. And scope management plan, this is in the scope management plan, we do not, it's a management, it's a plan document, it is not a requirement document, so ruled out. So the elimination process says that 1 and 2 is ruled out. We have two statement now, either project scope statement or work breakdown structure. Please remember, work breakdown structure is the graphical representation or the ordering or sequencing of the work package item, but that not much into the acceptance criteria though. So the answer should be the scope statement. Every scope statement should have the acceptance criterias. What is an acceptance criterias? Are nothing but detailed explanation of the requirement, or probably the business scenarios, the business conditions, the test condition, test scenarios. So all those points are known as acceptance criteria. Yeah, good. All right, the scope baseline includes which of the following? Yeah, so these are the questions which you may get. The scope baseline includes what? Yeah, and anyone having any things here? Okay, scope baseline includes which part? Yeah, anyone? Yes, Basudeva, it's a saying 3, Prasad, fourth one, Kiran 2, okay, 4. Anyone? Okay, I think Biswank, you are saying 2. Okay, Srini 4, Sandeep 4, perfect, Sagar 4, Upender 4, Prabha 4, Palam, okay, from Visakhapatnam, Kiran second. Well, the answer is that scope baseline is actually contain the project scope statement plus the work breakdown structure and the WBS dictionary. Basically, with what you remember what I said, whenever you break the whole requirement into the smaller part, and each and every smaller part is nothing but work package, you cannot define the scope baseline unless and until you cannot freeze the scope baseline unless you divide the big requirement and make it granular, understand the in detail about what you need to deliver. If I'm constructing a building, I have, like, suppose 2 crore with me, and I want to construct a building, and I just don't throw the money and then I will tell, okay, you give me the the force. So for constructing a building, you need to take care of your land dimension, the land cost, your the kind of building construction cost, your interior design cost, your architectural fee, your labor fee, right? Your kind of government license, your khata approval, your electrics, everything you need to take. So those are known as the work package. If I don't estimate that upfront, then how can you know the baseline, that what is my estimate, initial estimate, how much I need to spend? So that's how we need to make a plan, that you need to understand the each and every component of the work scope statement, SOW, statement of work requirement, acceptance criteria, then the WBS and WBS dictionary. Without that, it would be difficult for you to find out the scope baseline. Yes, Madhusudan Gangadhar, you are right. Sandeep, everyone. Fourth statement is the correct one. Yeah. All right, so I'll not go through the detailed questions, but we have enough time to go through a lot of other things. Yeah, so okay, so let's close this. Any queries, then please feel free to let me know. Okay, yesterday we spoke about net present value, NPV, and there are four. I'm going a little bit jumping to, because one part is over, scope statement. Uh, I can go back to scope statement. I think we can make it green, and it's done. Okay. Now, welcome back to a couple of other points. There are project selection criteria. Hope you remembered we spoke about four areas or four uh, the calculations or the approach by which I can determine whether I should take up the project or yes or not. Yeah. So what I need to do: net present value, internal rate of return, cost benefit analysis, and payback period, right? So we'll talk about that one by one, but today we'll try to cover the net present value, and let's talk about what is a net present value. Okay, for that I have a something preparation for you so that you can uh, easily understand. Okay, let's talk about the net present value. Today we'll try to cover what is an NPV. As a project manager, as a program manager, you need to understand that this is one of the techniques used uh, by each and every project manager who are mostly into the bidding phase, or those who are into the kind of taking a decision, or the decision makers into the project approval. Yeah, project need to be approved by the project management office, your program manager, your directors, your executive sponsors, your leadership team, before it gets on board, right? So before it even start implementing by a project manager, it has to be evaluated. It has to be the kind of feasibility study to be done. But feasibility study is not theoretical. It is also need to be calculated with a term which is known as the net present value, along with all the other three options. Now, what is a net present value? For example, uh, today I'm creating the COVID-19 vaccine, for example, yeah, and I'm the stakeholder, and I'm just spending 10,000 USD for my initial investment. Okay, well, so what is my initial investment? I'm just investing 10,000 USD. And I'm expecting that my forecast, my plan, my gut feel, my based on my expert judgment, based on my earlier understanding, that I would be receiving the cash flow expected if COVID-19 is coming to India by December or by Feb 2021. Uh, if I'm delivering this project or the vaccine to the market, then I'm expecting that first year I can earn around 3,000 USD. Similarly, the second year, third year, fourth year, and fifth year, right? So this is what my plan, because 2025, we cannot expect that it would be normal, right? So as it is, well, now two things you need to do. Well, there is something known as also the discount rate is the 10%. I'll come back to what is a discount rate, but the idea says that I'm investing 10,000 USD. I'm expecting to cash inflow for the next 5 years, because after that no one would be taking because by that time it would be one kind of mandatory for everyone. Everyone could have taken that in next 5 years. So I'm planning for only 5 year, the return. Yeah. Okay. Now, so if I say that in this diagram or the example, sometime we need to calculate the present value. What is a present value? Uh, if I want to write the present value is nothing but cash flow. What is my cash flow? I'm doing it here. Like basically in the first year, my cash flow is I'm expecting 3000 USD. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to divide. There's a small calculation. You just need to remember this calculation. 1 plus discount rate, which is nothing but your 10%. I'll come back to what is a discount rate. And then to the power year, like year means suppose the power I'm just writing, well, like if I can see this, I can use, yes. So power, like this is the first year, I'll use, this is the 1. Okay, what is the calculation? Cash flow divided by 1 plus what is the discount rate? Okay, what, by the way, if somebody says that if anyone is not aware of probably what is a discount rate, it is nothing but sometime uh, it is called as the interest which you are providing, right? So the interest rate. So discount rate is also known as the interest rate, which you can consider that 10% interest or the inflation, whatever you consider. So cash flow is you just need to remember that. Yeah, unless until you not practice, it would be difficult for you. Cash flow, I'm expecting projected 3000 USD would be my first year cash flow, divided by 1 plus what is the discount rate or the interest rate to the power 1, the power of the year, first year. Similarly, here also I can go and I can also do the same thing. Cash flow, what is my cash flow here? 3000. But here 1 plus 10 power 2, because it's a 2 years. And why I need to calculate? Because every year we have a 10% discount is. Discount means you can also consider the uh, if you are borrowing something, then it's a interest rate. If you are owning something and you are losing, that is known as the depreciations, right? So you can think in that aspect as well. Okay, so this calculation says that cash flow means if you calculate 3000 divided by 1 plus 10%. So what is a 1%, 10%? Like let me calculate here. Like 3000 divided by, if I can calculate the 1 plus 10 by 100, which is nothing but 1.10, isn't it? And then you need to calculate power of 1 for this, right? So let's calculate this. Command X, well, put it here. For here, Command V, and then you put it here as a 2, power 2. Well, and then you put it as a power 3, and similarly Command V, and then the power 4 and power 5. Why I'm doing that? Because you need to do this practice, because you need to write the exam if possible. You need to do that as well. Yeah. Okay, so if I do these calculations, like basically 3000 divided by 110 by 100, which is nothing but 1.10 power 2. This is again the second year. Expected outcome is 3000 divided by 1.110 power 2. Number of year, right? Number of year is 4 and 5. So the output for the first year, it is coming 2727.27 USDs, which is nothing but your present value. Expected cash inflow, but considering that the depreciation or probably the interest rate is there, so the present value is to be looks like it is 2727. I'm expecting that I supposed to get 3000. cash inflow, but there is still depreciation or the interest rate. Both are kind of two different aspects, both side of the coin. One is that you are owning something, one is that you are paying something. Okay, so in the second year is actually your present value. As of now, you are planning 3, but considering the depreciation of 10%, that present value is not 3,000. You are getting 3,000, that's fine. But the present value, if you map what is the current value, is 2479.34 with this calculation. Yeah. Now, so that is the present value you have calculated entire thing. Now the NPV is nothing but summation of all the present value for the future year, right? I repeat, for the future year, the expected value, present value. So in the future year, I'm expecting 3,000, but in the year 1, the value 3,000 is equivalent to today's 2,727. In after 2 year, whatever I think that 3,000 outcome, I may get it after 2 year, but as of now, as of today's, that present value on that day or that time would be 2479. So what you need to do, you need to just cumulative that, which is nothing but 11372.36, right? Minus initial investment, which is like 10,000. So here you are getting 1372 is the net present value, NPV. Future you will get 3,000, but the present value as of today is these are the values. So as of today you are actually uh, taking the profit, or should be in your hand, is 1,372.36. So that is how the net present value is to be calculated. Sum of the present value for positive and negative cash flow, right? So you just remember that so that this diagram would be easy. Any questions here? 3 aspects you need to remember for NPV. What is the depreciation or the interest rate or the discount rate, also you can say that. What is that initial investment, and what is your projected cash flow, the future cash flow, right? Future cash flow. And then, but actually since there is a depreciation is happening, you also need to calculate your present value. Yeah. And then finally sum the entire thing, entire present value minus the initial investment, which is nothing but your net present value. Yeah. Okay, so good question, Himavendu. In what real scenario, how we can use this NPV, net present value? Okay. Okay, so in what scenario you are asking, right? So in okay, okay, in what scenarios, how can we the scenario number 1 is that you've been assigned suppose, okay, in what scenario? Let me give it another example so that you can understand in what scenario you should use. Now, suppose Himavendu, you are the project manager or the program manager, or I'm the business sponsor. I'm ready to start investing the money, yeah, and you are going to take care of the maximize the benefit for me. Yeah, I'm the business sponsor. I hired you as a project and program manager. So there are 2 conditions in front of me, right? I need to invest money. Say for example, if I want to invest money in okay, so let me invest the money in the vaccine creation or in the biopharmaceutical companies, or the same money I have certain real estate business in front of me. If Mukesh Ambani came into the from Geo, and then the 5G broadband, they are bringing it into the system. why Mukesh Ambani or the Ambani group is, even they have the Reliance Communications, but why are they not investing the money in the entertainment and media? Why they are into the petrochemicals, why they are into the fiber? If you can see, the Geo is the successful now, right? So they are going for 5G. They have enough money, they can go to the entertainment media, they can even plan for some kind of, why they are into the petrochemicals, some specific business, even they have a multifarious business. Why not Microsoft is coming out of Bill Gates, or whoever the CEO, our the Satya Nadella or anyone, or who, why don't they think about coming out of that and doing some kind of Microsoft real estate business, yeah, or Microsoft media house, right? Why they are into the specific to the computer infrastructure, hardware, cloud, Azure, and all? Because they have calculated the net present value, provided that given a choice in front of you, I have money to spend, I will give you the $100 rupees. You need to decide that which project will give me more benefit and which are aligned to my project business strategy. So NPV in the real time scenario are used before taking off any project. What are the expected outcome? What are the current scenario or the values that how we can invest the money? Reliance Jio never, without calculation, they don't think so. They gave you the Jio free for 3 months. They had a very good strategy to provide you. They have a calculated that if I invest 1 lakh crore rupees getting into the free for the 3 month, probably I can take the 80% of subscriber into my point, right? So in that case, it makes easy for you to select that this is for the project A, this is for the project B. For project A, my net present value is, say, for example, 1,37,236 NPV. The another project which also looks promising, right? Considering less investment, but net present value is minus 58,877, right? Which one you need to choose? You need to definitely select the project with a good outcome, right? So that's how in the real time scenarios we do net present values. Okay. Bemu Samson, if somebody stolen the ideas of regard app development, which will be very useful for public, then at that situation, what is the role of a project manager? You're most welcome, Yavindu. If somebody stolen the ideas regard app development, which will be very useful for public, uh, okay, the protection of the the legal approach or the copyright, the protections of the project management, patent, make sure that you have the copyright, right? So, and if somebody has stolen, yes, IP, all sort of things. If somebody has stolen the ideas, you have a lawsuit to go ahead with that. But before that, you need to secure your content, your patent, or your probably some legal, taking the trademark, tracking the registered, all sort of things. Yeah. Okay, we move, like, if in that case, if that's fine, that's a good idea that you got a competitor now. Yeah, because you have not secured your ideas, you have not filed a kind of the patent. Yeah. So, and somebody intellectual property right, absolutely. So if you don't do that, uh, then definitely you have to go through that, and of course people do that. Yeah. Risk management, okay. Okay, risk management means risk avoidance. You can do that, like, but risk mitigate also you can do that. But risk mitigation is only possible when the already happened. Yeah, avoidance you can plan it. Okay, good. If somebody, then here is the example 1372 is NPV value as it is 0. We can take this project. Am I correct? Yes, you are right, Prava. Absolutely, you are right. Net present value, right? So if you see in my, uh, if you see, Prava, in this case, if NPV is greater than 0, then select the project. I very clearly mentioned. If there is a question would be there anywhere, if you find NPV is minus in the question, don't select that project. Yeah. So project manager aggressive, you also become the aggressive, then also you cannot do much output because you need to take care of the professional ethics, the roles and responsibilities. Okay, what, it's a neutral. Like what about if NPV is zero? If NPV is zero, then you are on mute. Like you say that we don't lose anything, we don't get anything. Let it consider. Then you need to think about how to maximize the benefit from zero to some positive case. Yeah. And if you have two projects, one is NPV zero, one is NPV minus, even you take the zero NPV, right? You can start with that. Yeah. So discount rate, Prava, like is nothing but your interest rate, so that's how the discount rate is more or less kind of the interest rate which you need to pay to someone else. Discount rate is sometime what happened, the depreciations is happening at some kind of 5% and 10% depreciation is happening. Yeah. So that is how the future cash flow you need to no, IRR is something different. Internal rate of return is a little bit different. I'll discuss that tomorrow, but for the time being, uh, it's a discount rate, interest rate, or whatever. Yeah, depreciation rate also you can say that. Okay, present value. Yes, Gangadhar. I think I'll come back to that if somebody is still online. Okay. Gangadhar, you have asked, please explain about the present value and how we defined the discount rate. Okay, isn't it? Okay. Uh, okay. Say for example, initial investment you clear. Now, what is your 10%? 10% is nothing but you can calculate that today, what is the value of COVID vaccine after 2 years? After 5 years, like if someone is preparing the vaccines after 2 year, 3 year, do you think that people will, because whatever we are having the market share now 100%, after 2 year and 5 year probably I can have left out around 5% or 7% of market share. So that kind of, then I can say that my depreciations or my interest rate is basically 95%. If it is remaining 5% market share, I'm losing 95%. So this is the discount rate. This is the price at which uh, you will lose something. It is what the interest rate which you are liable to pay, right? So discount rate is also calculated in that aspect. Yeah. Okay. Now, but there's a small difference between NPV and IRR, but both are not same. We'll discuss at the later point. Yeah. Okay. So that's how your question present value. This is the, if I go back to the NPV1, there is something known as the present value. Yeah. And present value is which age of today, right? So on the first year, you are expecting 3000 cash flow, but that value will be not exactly similar to 3000, because today I'm expecting uh, that I'll do a kind of the vaccine. If I come back to the market, if I deliver to the market, I will get around 5,000 the dollar. But don't think that after 1 year or towards the end of the 1 year, the same price you will be actually getting it, or the after second year it will go reducing, because there would be some kind of depreciation. Another example, you purchased Apple iPhone 7, right? So say for example, whenever you purchased Apple iPhone 7 for the first time, when it came to the new, you paid around 55,000 or 50,000 something, but today it is just 24,000 after 2 3 years, not even 2, it's just 2 years. Yeah. So it is depreciation, it is going less, right? So the present value on year one would be less based on the 10% depreciation for the Apple iPhone. After 2 years, whenever Apple iPhone 10 or sorry 8 or 9 or came, whatever XR whatever is coming, then it would again reduce further. Yeah. On the third year, you got Apple 11, then the Apple 7 price will again go down. On the fourth year, Apple 12, 12 Max, 12 Pro is coming, so price will reduce. So this is what the present value of the specific year. This is as of today, what is your cash flow you are expecting, but the monetary value will reduce just because there is a depreciation. In a simple term, I am just trying, and that is a little bit similar to the IRR and NPV, but let's not discuss now. You will get confused. Yeah. Yes, we have Srinivas. We have internal rate of return. We have the CBA, cost-based analysis, right? So payback period is a very simple calculation. But yes, we'll discuss on that aspect as well. Good. Okay, cash flow due to discount. Will the discount rate is constant? Well, that is, well, discount rate is not always constant, because sometime if the share market is reducing, and then what will happen based on the market demand, market condition, the price also goes up and down. But as of now, with the trend, we can say that it is going 5% increment, kind of quarterly, or every Infosys share is going up, for example. But it is not always constant. It is fluctuating, yeah, based on the market demand. Good. What about if NPV is zero? I said, Bemu, I think I have answered you. Well, good. I think this is what I wanted to discuss today, and we are closing the scope management today. Tomorrow we are going to complete about, we are just one slide behind the schedule. If you can see my screen, which is PMP's organizational influences is yet to be completed. Yeah. All right. So that's all from today from me. If you have any queries and questions, please feel free to write and message to me. If not, I'd like to say thank you each one of you for joining with me, and I would like to see you tomorrow same time, 7 to 9 p.m. IST. Wish you all the best. Have a nice day and stay safe, stay at home, and we'll meet tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow we'll talk about organizational influence. We're also one of the important critical topic for tomorrow. Yeah. Good night. Have a nice day, guys, and wish you all the best till we meet tomorrow. Thank you. Bye-bye. Yes, Madhusudan, the recording links, I'll talk to the team. They will share the entire links. Yeah. Good night, Prasad. Good night, Madhusudan. Upender, Radhakrishna, Satya, Himabindus, Vasudeva, Srinivas, Gangadhar. Good. Have a nice day, guys. Bye-bye.